the things that matter most last a lifetime. And I always tell them that you can tell what matters most when you can see what's going to last your lifetime.
Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of Your Best Day Yet. At Center for Victory, we're here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal, professional development. I'm Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer here at the Center for Victory. With me today is a repeat offender. Love to welcome back Mr. Jan Ackley. Just to give you a synopsis kind of where he's at. If you don't remember him, we had a guest. He was a guest a few months back. He's the author of Searching for Change, which is a memoir about growing up in Appalachia. His book is a testimony to his resilience and ability to overcome obstacles, find happiness, and inspire others. That's why he's back again, to inspire us one more time. His natural humor weaves through discussions of success, hardship, and overcoming life's obstacles. Jan, you were actually a 12-year veteran of the United States Air Force and Ohio National Guard as well. I'm going to stop there. Welcome back, man. I'm fired up that you're back here with us today. I love the conversation from last time, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into a different topic today. So welcome back. Did I forget anything real important?
No, you got it, Eric, and I appreciate coming back on. Love the discussion as well, so thank you.
Yeah, so I thought, Jan, we'd get into a little bit more, on the leadership side, but on more of a personal path, with especially about fatherhood, because if people don't remember, I mean, one of your biggest obstacles, not just growing up where you did grow up, but also not having a father at home, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and
Yep.
now how many kids do you have again?
I have 5 kids,
Five
and
kids
I have 8 grandchildren
and
now.
8 grandchildren.
Yeah. So it's a big crew here at the Ackley. I want to say home, but they're all scattered around.
Yeah, so I thought we'd dive into that father as leader bit a little bit, because I certainly I believe in it. I mean, I've tried to be there for the best of my ability and knowledge for my kids, and I think they've turned out pretty well. But
Yeah.
just a basic question, Jan, like, why do you think fathers are so important?
Yeah, I mean, there's a there is a dynamic that I discovered, being a father, but also just watching other fathers when I was young, how they operated. There's a dynamic there between a wife and the mother and the father that I think is very important. The just leadership with kids, being there with them, showing them the way, if you will, and I mentioned that dynamic. I was there with my kids as they were all growing up and played with them, got on the floor with them, and I got to know them really well, and they got to know me, and they could count on me. And I think that just in and of itself, having that stability that you can count on your dad to be there when you need him. My kids are all grown and they still count on me. I get calls all the time. Dad, would you help me with this? What do you think about that? And that started when my kids were very, very young, and being there when they were sick. And it helps with their confidence as they grow up to know that support's there. But um, the leadership is a big part of it too, and just showing them the way.
Let me ask you this: what have you either attempted or given or attempted to give, or given your kids and grandkids that you needed and didn't get? What are like, are there a couple things that you're more intentional about that you didn't get that you thought are important?
Yeah, the biggest thing is being able to have, lengthy discussions with my kids, no matter how old they were or are, understanding them, what their strengths is, what their weaknesses are, what makes them happy, what makes them sad, helping them through the sadness and the weaknesses, and cheering them on when they're strong and doing good things. And I didn't have that. I felt like I was alone. Honestly, my mom worked all the time, and I did spend a lot of time alone. And it wasn't until I was probably 17 that I had a real discussion with a man, with a friend that I met, a grown man, and started asking me these questions about, hey, what do you like to do? What makes you happy? And it was an odd discussion because, I felt like, wow, somebody kind of cares. And I think that's what fatherhood is caring, and being there for your kids and having those discussions that builds confidence. And I never had that. And so I tried to do that all the time, no matter if they were 2 years old, or they're, my oldest is now 38. We still have these discussions.
Yeah, and so your kids, you said the oldest is 38. What's the youngest?
Yeah, the youngest is 20. He'll be 26. And he's the only one that's not married yet. He's always looking around, but all the other four, I have three boys and two girls, and they're all married except for my youngest,
Uh-huh.
and that's Jared.
How about your grandchildren? What age? I can't remember what age range.
Oh yeah, they range in age from 12, which the 12-year-old, she's the one why I originally wrote this book. But she's 12, and then I have all the way down to 3 months.
Wow. What did you mean by the 12-year-old, the reason you wrote the book?
Well, it kind of goes back to this fatherhood question. All of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden I discovered that now I'm a grandfather, and this I was sitting in the hospital. She was born, and I was sitting out there by myself, and I was a little, my brain was going through a lot of things, and I thought, man, I don't even know what a grandfather does. What am I supposed to do? I never planned on being it didn't enter my mind to be a grandfather, but there I was sitting in that chair in the hospital, and I thought, well, the only thing that came to my mind was I just want to let her know who I am, the lessons that I learned in life, and maybe she could um, use those. And I just started taking notes. I kept a journal most of my life, back starting when I was about 18 years old. So I pulled those out, started reading all these experiences, and it brought back a lot of memories and good lessons, actually. So I wrote them all down, and I showed them to some people at work, and they said, "Jan, this is good stuff. You ought to write a book about it." So that's what led me to write that book, and it's I've gotten some feedback on it that it's helped other people, with adversity and how to get through it. And I just wanted my grandkids to know about that.
Now, does the 12-year-old, does she know this story?
Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
knows the story very well. I started taking those notes when she was born. It took me 11 years to write that book, and I thought it was going to kill me. But I had to learn how to write for a reader to be in. I'm a business writer, but not a
Yeah.
book writer, if you
Right.
know what I mean. And
I
I had to
do.
learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And it took 11 years, and she's 12 now, and she has a copy of that book, and we've talked about it. We've talked about she's at that. I think any kid that gets to be 12 and 13, that's a tough age. It's just a tough age, and that's where some of these lessons, in the book, I talk to her about, and it helps her. It gives her confidence. And my other grandkids, I have some that are. There's one that's 10, and I have another one that's 8, and so they understand. We talk about it.
Um, for the 12-year-old, well, any of your grandkids, but
Yeah.
like, what are some of the things from the book that you've discussed with them?
Well, that it's okay to feel uncomfortable. You don't have to put yourself in a comfortable position at all times. A lot of the lessons that I think people learn, I learned, is that uh, some of the most important things occurred when I was in adversity and I didn't feel like things were going my way, and those aren't things to shut down. Those are when you rise up and don't let it take you down, and kind of like uh, if you have doubt, if you're choosing doubt, it allows you to be acted upon by others and it hinders things. So it's really in a grandfather to a 12-year-old in that language. It's uh, don't let adversity get you down. Use it as a learning tool. I'm here to help you. Your mom and dad are here to help you, and just don't let it make you constantly unhappy as you go through it, because we're all going to go through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, there any other lessons like that you've like stories that you've had with your kids that you learned growing up that you saw in them when we're able to kind of lead them like through a specific situation because they had you and maybe you didn't have that when you were growing up?
Yeah, it's. I think the biggest thing is uh, there are things that matter in life and a lot of things that don't matter. And it's focusing on the things that matter in life, your family, being kind to others, finding those good relationships, being steady in life. And we talk about that. The things that matter most last a lifetime. And I always tell them that you can tell what matters most when you can see what's going to last your lifetime. It's your mom and dad. It's your uncles and your aunts. It's your whole family, your siblings, the people that you meet in school and how you do in school. Those things matter all your life and it make you happy all your life. But there are a lot of things that don't matter that people tend to get riled up about, the digital age, um, what is reality, you know, it's being real. What's reality and what is not. And it's usually those things that, you get upset about your friends that, how do I compare to them? You see all this Facebook and social media tends to make a lot of kids unhappy these days, and it's those things don't matter. And I harp on that a lot. I don't know if harp's the right word, but I harp on it, and just focus on the things that matter, and it's okay to be uncomfortable at times in your life, because if you rise up, you'll end up being happier.
So I know you, I mean, obviously you speak to a lot of people and you've been in leadership positions throughout your career. Um, when we take a look at the family and you as a father, how important are a set of values to a family? And then can you give us an example of one that you have, right? So twofold question there.
Yeah. Well, the values that I have been learned. I've learned a lot from my wife and her family about values, um, and kindness to others. I think is one of the biggest values. Naturally, you love your kids, you love your spouse, and and you try and show that every day. And it goes beyond that. It goes, one of my biggest values that I've discovered, if you will, that makes me happy is thinking about others first. And I don't think we have enough of that today. You go to the store, and which I do all the grocery shopping. I love it. But I go to the store, and a lot of times you see like the cashier or everyday life. You go out and what have you. And sometimes there are people that you can tell aren't very happy. And I love those opportunities to they wear a name tag and I'll say, "Hey, Sally, how are you doing today?" And even those words will pick people up. And it's thinking of others, not just about yourself. And I discovered a long time ago that the more I did that, the less I thought about myself and the more I cared about others, the happier I became. It's seems like it's opposite of the way it should be, but that's the way it is. Um, what can I do for the neighbor? Uh, it's a way of living in a true value that I have that has changed my life actually.
For an example, how has that played out in your home with your kids?
Well, they know that they can count on me. My wife can count on me. I think about when I get up in the morning, my wife's the first thing I think about. She knows how much I love her and I support her, and uh, whatever she wants to do, I'm with her on that. My kids see that, my relationship with my wife. They've seen that I've been married. This will be my 40th year of marriage this year in August. And so it's been a long time, but my kids see that. And they know that I provide a steadiness in their lives because I think about them. Every now and then, it's not just an emotional thing, but every now and then somebody's car is breaking down, and I'll help them with that, and I don't mind doing that. So it's that I'm not thinking about, hey, what's in it for me? What do I want to do with my life, and not think about others. It's just not in my makeup. And the people around me know that, including my coworkers.
Okay. Um, have you seen that even play out with your grandkids as well?
Yeah, it's not so much yet. They are still learning. Young people tend to, that's all they think about is what's going to make me happy today. I remember when I was a teenager, that's the way I felt. I didn't think really about others, and then I got married, and all of a sudden I thought, oh, it's not just about me. I got to think about my wife, and then the kids come, and so the more progression I had in life, the less I thought about myself. I have a big crew, and so that young people tend to think about themselves and what's in it for me, and so they're still learning. And but I'm there to kind of remind them every now and then. Hey, if you see somebody in school that's not happy, that's sitting by themselves at lunch, go over there. It's a mindset. Go over there and sit with them, talk to them.
Next to last question, Jan. If you were to tell somebody, if you were just to give us bullet points, right? Here are some things you need to focus on with being a good leader in your home, especially as a father. Like, could you give us like 4 or 5 real good bullet points to say, hey, do this, do.
Yeah, it's you're putting me on the spot, Eric, but I'll come up with some right now. Um, the I think the most important thing, at least it was for me, is to be there. That even came down to the job that I took. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
corporate finance, but I took a job out of college that was in the banking industry. I love that industry, but one of the biggest um, benefits was I could be home at night and be with my kids. And it's not just being around in the house; it's being with your kids and engaging with them. Um, yeah, I remember a story. We used to have this little Tikes basketball hoop on our deck. It was an old rotten deck kind of a thing. The nails were kind of popping up everywhere. But my kids, when they were really young, we'd go out there and I'd play with them on my knees on this little Tikes basketball hoop. And I'd go in at night. My knees are all scraped up and they hurt all the time. But that was the best thing I ever did. It just brings a smile on my face thinking about it. But they remember that I
Mhm.
wasn't just there; I was with them. So that would be the first thing. The next thing is, I guess I'm not a. I call it a storm chaser. I'm not a victim guy. Um, I always showed that responsibility to them and still do. I call it storm chasing. There are storms you can chase, you know, problems in the world, and that's what your day is made up of being offended and being a victim of everything. And I taught my kids, no, you don't have to do that. Just take responsibility for yourself, and it'll make you happier when you do that. And so don't be a storm chaser is what I always told them. You can find storms in life everywhere if you look hard enough, but that's not where you should be looking. Um, and the other thing I think they saw in me is I never took the path of least resistance. They always saw me. I was in college when my couple of my kids were really young, and they saw me grinding away, and then at work they saw me work hard to try and make the family better and have a decent life financially, but they never saw me take that path of least resistance. They always saw me doing the hard thing. Um, and I think those are the three bullet points I would give you to answer that question.
That was good. That was great. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so the big question, Jan, and you didn't. I forgot to ask you this last time you were on. All right. So, how do you define? Because our podcast is called "Your Best Day Yet," right?
Yeah.
So, how do you define your best day yet?
Yeah. This is another one. I'm going to sit up for this one, Eric. Uh, uh, my best day is is and I touched on this before. My best day, it starts with I wake up, and I tend to wake up pretty happy about life. And it never used to be that way for me when I was really a young kid, teenager. But I'm a pretty happy guy, and that's for me the best day starts with recognition and gratitude. So I have gratitude for a lot of stuff. I think we mentioned this the last time. I have gratitude for some of the what people would maybe think are silly. I fill up my car with gas, and I feel so good about that. But gratitude is the number one thing I think about. Grateful for my wife and my family. I'm grateful for the ability to be able to start the day and work and help other people. My job is one that I help, companies and employees and things like that. And then, a lot of times on the weekends, my kids and grandkids come up to visit. And so that's how I would define that. It's
Perfect.
everything I just mentioned.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Great way to end that. Great way to end the podcast. Love talking with you again.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's fantastic. If you haven't got the book again, searching for change, grab it. It's just a testimony to resilience
yeah,
and the ability to overcome obstacles, and might even push some of our readers, which I push people when I coach them, to write their own story because
yes,
you're affecting the generations to come. So grab
yes.
it, grab it, be inspired by it. Jan, thank you so much again, sir, for being on here and sharing
All
some
my pleasure.
tidbits today. Folks, that's all for today. Thanks for watching and listening. Just remember to subscribe, hit that like, share this video, please. Get it around because this is another good one. If you want more information, you can visit our website at centerforvictory.com. And just remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make this your best day yet. We'll see you soon.